Hi guys, welcome back to LPB Racing for the INDYCAR series on Project Cars 2. This is race 2 of round 3 here at Indianapolis GP, and we're getting ready for the start of this race. So it is Bidzster on pole position for this one. So I know it doesn't look like he's on pole position there, but he is. He just needs to get in front of TY a little bit. So we've got Johnny McMullen behind him and Neil Farmack as well. Stevie and Blakeney on the row behind them. Will and Keith and Brad is at the back. So we get ready for the start of this race then. Coming through the grid markings. And we're off! On Johnny McMullen, he must have jumped the start there. Either that or he got a flyer, but he goes straight through, so he must have had a jump start there, but down towards the first corner anyway. Let's watch as we go into the first corner. And oh, Will's hit Neil, and Neil hits Stevie, and then massive pile up. Keith gets involved in that as well. Will moves out of the way to try and let people back through, but Stevie there's, Neil's there trying to get up to speed, there's Keith as well. All happened there at the back. As we keep watching back here, we've got Blakeney in the middle of the pack. Let's have a look. There we are. So it is Johnny McMullen in the lead then, but it's got to definitely be a jump start for that, but we'll get a replay on that after this first lap. But Johnny in the lead then from Bidzster, TY. Brad is then in 4th place, up to 4th after all that chaos at the first corner. Meanwhile, further back here, we've got Blakeney and Stevie and Keith having a nice little battle here. Stevie and Keith. So Stevie, Keith up the inside has a little look, but no, can't quite do it. Has to back out of it before the next corner. So Bidzster in 2nd then, and then we've got Blakeney there. Will closing up to the back of Blake, and I thought he was going to outbrake himself and hit him then, but we're all good. So into the final complex, Will goes quite wide, but gets back on track. So we'll just get a replay of that first lap action for you now. Okay, here's a replay of the start then, so let's see if Johnny did jump the start. So Johnny's ahead in the Pertec car, right ahead of us. We're on board with Stevie, so we've got, so let's see when we go. So watch everyone else go compared to Johnny. Johnny's already going now, and then we're off now. So definitely a jump start there from Johnny McMullen. So he probably will end up with a penalty after the race. So but we'll have to see what the stewards make of it. Okay, here's on board of the start from on board with Blakeney, so we're going down towards the first corner. And watch on the right hand side, Will comes out of nowhere, brakes hard, can't stop, hits Neil, who then hits Stevie, then we all get caught up in the mess as well. And then we just about get going, and we've resumed the race. Okay, now let's have a look at the last view on this on board with Will. So watch Will down here, brakes way too late, and then can't stop the car, hits Neil, then hits Stevie, and then everyone else piles in, and then but Will does gentlemanly move off the track and let everyone else go, I think. But does he let everyone else go? No, he's still continuing round, so that could be a penalty there for Will. Okay, and here's something else we missed on that first lap as well. So going down to the first corner on board with Keith then. So down into the first corner, watch for Will coming in here, and bang, hits those other two cars. We get caught up in the mess, but we just about get going. Those other three decide to make up what they're doing. Now watch here, Keith goes round the outside of Neil here and gets on the power and just comes across, hits Neil Farmack off onto the gravel, and Keith doesn't realise this and keeps going, but that'll be a penalty for Keith for not waiting for a car after he took them off. So as we come back from that then, it is Will in 6th place there. So after causing that first lap incident, he's back up to 6th place. Meanwhile in the lead, it's Johnny McMullen with Bidzster behind him, so the Pertec car in the lead of this race. Bidzster not letting him go though, so Bidzster showing what LPB Racing's about and trying to put Johnny under some pressure. As we go down towards the next corner, we've got Will and Will's in front. Will's got Stevie right behind him now, so Stevie trying to make up some places from that first lap incident. Looks to the inside, darts about a bit, try and put Will off his line, and he does, because Will goes wide, under a break in, Stevie closes up, but again, there's not really any way through here. You can set yourself up for this next corner, but you've got to have a demon run. Oh, how Will do that? He goes off, Will goes off, and Stevie goes through, and a cone takes a flying lesson. But Stevie's up into 6th place now, as Blakeney then is right behind Bradders now, pressuring for that 4th place into the last few corners. And onto the straight, Bradders gets a good run there onto the straight. Meanwhile, up at the front, it's Bidzster versus Johnny into the first corner. Bidzster closes right up to Johnny there as he goes a bit deep into the brakes, into the braking zone. And Bidzster closes up, but again, there's not really any way through as of yet. Just got to keep piling on the pressure now. Obviously, I don't know what kind of racing background that Johnny's had. Obviously, he's had racing experience in real life, but let's see what he can do with the pressure of Bidzster behind him. And TY's not too far behind as well, so don't discount TY from this. As Will then in 7th place, he's falling back from Stevie. And goes wide there, and Keith will close up. But Keith closes up as Neil right at the back then in 9th place after getting well and truly mugged at the first corner. So the Bidzster's teammate, the replacement for Callum, because obviously, as I mentioned in the last race, Callum unfortunately not able to race with us for a while because of an illness that's come over him. So keep fighting, Callum. We're all thinking of you, and we'll hopefully see you in the not so distant future. As we go across the line then, Johnny from Bidzster, TY in 3rd, but he's 3 seconds back from the leaders. And then we've got Bradders, Blakeney and Stevie all closing up together now. We've got Blakeney with Stevie behind him now. Stevie on a charge here. He's ditched Will, left him to fend off Keith. And Stevie's approaching the back of these boys. So it is Bradders from Blakeney from Stevie. That's the orders. Bradders goes on the brakes quite early as Blakeney closes up, but goes wide there as well. Stevie just rubbing his hands together saying, come on boys, get stuck in with each other, because then I'll be able to catch up. As we go into turn 3, or turn 4 technically, as we go into the chicane, and Stevie's alongside Blake, but Blake says no you don't, but Blake runs wide a bit. Stevie closes up down to the next braking zone. Blakeney defends the inside, Stevie goes for the outside, brakes very late and goes right round the outside of Blakeney. Have that, Blake. Oh, yeah, got overexcited with himself, spins it into the wall, lights up the rear tyres offline, and that's what happens when you try and go around the outside of someone and put your foot down. So Stevie's got to try all that again. So it looked good at first, but didn't manage to pull it off in the end. There's Bidzster now right behind Johnny, really closing in on him, really putting on the pressure on the LPB Racing rookie into the first corner. Bidzster pulls out to the left, Johnny defends the inside. So Johnny defending the inside then, knows his racing craft. Obviously with being a British Formula Ford champion, knows his racecraft, but Bidzster knows his fair share of racecraft as well, and so does TY. He's only 2.5 seconds behind these boys now, closing up with every wheel turn. As Blakeney up the inside of Bradders into the first corner. Bradders fighting back on the inside. No, you do not, Sunshine. But Blakeney says, no, you do not, Sunshine. I will have you up the inside. And he does, he gets him into the turn 4 and gets the place done. So Blakeney with a good move there on Bradders, set him up. Will's on the back, Keith's on the back of Will. There's been contact there. There's definitely got to have been contact because Will's gone back, Keith's gone back as well. So something's happened there. We'll get a replay on that for you now. Okay, here's the replay what happened to Keith and Will on lap 5. So going into the corner, Keith goes to the inside, just brakes too late, bang, hits Will round, and then off into the gravel backwards. So, but Keith did admit straight away that it was his fault and resumed, but he lost a lot more time than Will there. So as we resume the race. So as we come back from that to the leaders, Johnny's still in the lead on lap 5. So pit window open. Remember, pit lane window opens on on the end of lap 2, onto lap 3, and lap 3 it opens, and obviously lap 29 it will close. So yeah, we're going to watch out because obviously they're on the red alternate tyre and they'll change to the primary. But again, the only graphical change on Bidzster's car, unfortunately. But we'll see, because everyone should go to the primary tyre anyway, and I can tell because there's a little judder in the pit stop. So don't think you're getting away with it, boys. If you're keeping the same tyres or keeping the same compound, I can tell, as I know my little tricks. As we go into turn 4, Johnny pulling out a little bit more of a lead on Bidzster now, so obviously might have even used a push to pass just to gain a bit of a gap on Bidzster here. So it's not just for passing the boost, it's to help with overall strategy as well, just to gain a bit of time. 1.1 seconds now, TY closing up to back of Bidzster as well. A bit more spread out the leaders. As we look further back, Stevie's up into 6th, because obviously the Will and Keith contact made him go up to 6th place. As Neil seems to be struggling with the car here. So Neil's struggling with the handling. So the AJ Foyt car going slightly more backwards here. Hopefully not be going backwards for too much longer, as Bidzster then goes into the last corner with Johnny in front, TY behind, still keeping a distant gap, but Johnny's 1.1 seconds and TY's only 1.5 off Bidzster now. So TY closing in slowly as Bradders tries to keep with Blakeney in 5th place, but runs very wide in that last corner, very wide there, and that's going to help Stevie close up. So Stevie will want to take advantage of any mistake he can. There's Stevie, and then there's Neil further back. So a little bit more spread out now, but oh, Johnny must have made a mistake. Johnny must have made a mistake because he's got closed up by Bidzster. So Bidzster must have, Bidzster's on a move, and Johnny must have made a little error there, so probably run wide at the first corner. Would imagine so. That's the most likely bit where people run wide, tend to run wide. Going around here, got to be careful of the curbs on this game, because the curbs are lethal on this track in an open wheel car. So you tap the curbs, which is very unrealistic to real life. You tap the curb and you end up spinning round. So usually in real life they can take a lot more hammering than this, but just how the physics of the game are. As they close up to each other, Bidzster trying with all his might to close up to the back of Johnny. As we go out the last corner onto the straight, into the drafting zone, and we've got Blakeney with Bradders still not far behind, but Stevie's joining the battle again, so the battle is about to restart almost like it was in the first few laps. So Blakeney from Bradders from Stevie, and Stevie's closing up on Bradders. Bradders going wide out the corners a little bit here. Stevie might be on the push to pass now, just to try and gain a little bit more time onto the straight, we'll see, but might not even be, might just use the draft. But this car does tend to top out near the top end, as we'll just hear now. There it is, topping out at the end of the straight. Stevie closing on Bradders, closes right in, almost hits the back of him, but luckily just stops the car in time. But Bradders just a bit more timid on the brake compared to everyone else. He's doing a lot better than what he did at the start of the last championship. And Stevie, a demon move down the inside. Have that, Bradders. Bradders luckily looking in his mirrors, and good move there by Stevie up the inside of Bradders. So Bradders being schooled there on how to pass by Stevie. Bradders goes back down, but I was saying about Bradders, obviously he only debuted with his wheel. He's got a wheel now that he uses rather than the controller, and he only just debuted with that at this end of at the start of the last championship, and he's got used to it, and he's done pretty well. So hats off to him, rather than being in Will's position at 2 minutes at the battle. Will unfortunately has disconnected from the race, so unfortunately for Will, we've lost him. So 8th position now goes to Keith. So Will unfortunately out of this race then, because the disconnection in LPB racing is basically like the car has a mechanical failure and you just retire from the race. So no points for him, unfortunately. So just one of those things. So disconnection is a bit like if an engine blows. It's just one of those things. You can't do a thing about it. You just got to try again next week. But Bidzster closing right up onto the back of Johnny now, just going left and right. He's trying to put him off his line, under a bit of pressure, but Johnny's not folding yet. Bidzster relentless in his attack, right behind him, almost pushing him around those corners now. Johnny will probably never have felt pressure like this, but Bidzster's applying it. Down to the next few corners, looks for a gap on the inside, can't quite do it. Just looks to the outside, putting Johnny off his line, and Bidzster tries to go right round the outside. Little bit of contact and just tries to edge his car over the outside to get the inside for the next corner, but Johnny's not having any of that. Just runs him slightly wide to the white line, which is every right to do so because he's on the inside, and good racing there by both. So really, really good racing here as we go down the straight, and TY will be loving this because he's closing in all the time on these boys. So still got to watch out for people doing pit stops as well, remember. But let's watch the action as it is. Johnny again runs wide at that first corner. That seems to be his Achilles heel in this race. Just runs wide at that first corner, and Bidzster can catch up for the whole lap. As we go over the curbs there, hop, and TY, look, TY's here. He's not too far behind. There he is in the green and black car. So TY closing up then in the Dale Coyne racing car, obviously trying to make up for Will's disconnection and get some more points in for his team as well as himself. But the AJ4 Enterprises car still pressuring the Team Pertec Chevrolet of Johnny. As Blakeney then is in front of Stevie, but obviously, Bradders has gone backwards, obviously, because Bradders has gone back. He's not pitted, he's just must have made a mistake because Neil's gone through as well. So Neil on a comeback now, finally getting used to the car, getting used to the handling, and deciding to make a little bit of a comeback here. Meanwhile, Blake and Stevie are now the closest people on track. because Johnny's pulled out a little gap on Bidzster up front. About a second gap. This is under half a second gap, this, between Blakeney and Stevie. Go out the second to last corner, around the last corner, the sweeping right-hander onto the straight. They're both quite close, but no cigar yet for Stevie, trying to get past Blake. So down the straight we go, towards the first corner in the draft. Into the brakes for the first corner. Both take good lines around there. Blakeney a bit wider than Stevie there, but again, both get good lines out as well. Bidzster trying to catch up to Johnny, but again, Johnny pulls out the gap again, so it seems to find this pace, and then all of a sudden has to take a couple of cool-down laps, and then it ends up gaining more time again. So a bit of a rubber band effect happening here, but we'll keep track of it over the race. So definitely Johnny McMullen, the new guy, with some pace. Stevie and Blakeney. Oh, Stevie's in front of Blakeney now. Stevie's in front of Blakeney, so Blakeney got passed by Stevie there. So we'll just get a replay on how that switched. Okay, here's a replay of how Stevie got past Blakeney. So gets a fantastic run through the chicane out the other corner. Gets on a push to pass. Blakeney moves out to the right. Stevie goes to the left. Gets the inside for the next corner. Brakes get very close together, but then Stevie gets the line and takes the position. As we come back from that to the leader, Johnny McMullen 1.8 seconds in front of Bidzster now. Bidzster going back into the hands of TY slowly, so Johnny then pulling out the gap here on Bidzster, but runs wide at the first corner, but again gets away with it again. There's Blakeney then trying to attack Stevie back, but again Stevie's pulling away now, so Stevie on the move here, pulling away from Blake. Lap 12 of 31, no one's decided to pit yet, because obviously the primary tyre is a bit of a slower tyre around here, so I want to try and take the alternate tyre as long as they can. The alternate tyre, the softer compound, the primary tyre, the harder compound with a bit less grip but lasts longer, as Blake makes a little mistake there, so that'll definitely take him off the back of Stevie, and have to try and run his own race for a bit and see if he can catch up on pace alone. As we look at Bidzster there with TY closing in, TY closing onto the back of Bidzster now, half second in it, half second to a second gap. The gap seems to be fluctuating at that kind of gap, so TY catching up to Bidzster in second place, loitering around, not losing any time, just trying to keep with him, trying to keep with the two front runners, pick up any spoils if there is any mistakes. As we go down to the first corner, Johnny's already there, and we can see Bidzster then on the brakes with TY behind. Let's have a little onboard shot from TY here. And the TY's on the controller, so he does very well for the controller. Do have to admit, he does a very good job on that, because Project Cars is a very, very hard game to play with the controller. But TY just makes it look absolutely effortless as they go down the straight. In the draft of Bidzster will close up, but they're still not close enough to make a move yet. Brake at the 400 board and into the corner. Again, I look, see both cars avoiding the curbs, or trying to, if they do, just glance them. Don't use overly too much of the curbs, and then powering down to the second to last corner, to the complex. Third to last corner coming up into the corner. TY runs very wide into there, though, loses a bit of time. So Bidzster sliding the car on power to try and get the good exit, and then out the second to last corner now, and then round the last corner, the long right hander onto the straight. The gap remains just about the same. So Neil Farmack in his sixth place. He's catching up to Blake, 2.4 seconds behind him. 8 seconds to Bradders now. And Keith actually catching up to Bradders here. So Keith on the move, still not giving up. Back here with in the Andretti Autosport car, he's Blakeney's teammate. So Blakeney there in the red and yellow car, and then Keith in the yellow and blue car. In American racing, the teammates have different sponsors. So in a lot of American racing, the two teammates have different sponsors. As Bradders makes a mistake there. He's going to lose speed onto the straight. This could be Keith's opportunity to it's his opportunity to knock some cones out of the way and send him for some flying lessons. But Keith, he's catching up to Bradders now down the straight. He's got a cone wedged in his side pod. So Keith's got a cone wedged in his side pod there, and he brakes and he headbutts it, and it goes off the wheel and flies up in the air, and he goes up the inside of Bradders, who runs extremely wide at the first corner, and Keith goes through. So a bit of acrobatics there with the cone. doing keepy uppies with the cone and getting past Bradders at the same time, who's gone off into the gravel. So Bradders looks like he just needs to work on his rhythm, because once he loses his rhythm, it looks like that's it. So Johnny in the lead then by 3.3 seconds. TY and Bidzster closing together, but remember, Johnny will be under investigation from that start, so he could get receive a penalty for that start. And if it is a penalty for a jump start, it will be the equivalent of a drive-through penalty, which basically what we'll do is we measure how long it takes to do a drive-through penalty down this pit lane, and on this pit lane it is a long one. So this is one track you don't want to do a jump start on, but it is a long pit lane. It will probably take roughly around 40 to 45 seconds to do a drive-through. So that is what will be added on to Johnny's time if he is deemed to have jumped the start. But that'll be found out after the race. So we'll find out later on after the race what actually happened. But we'll see. But all he can do for now is keep fighting and keep driving along. But at the minute he's got a nice 3-second cushion over Bidzster and TY, who are battling still for second place. So TY closer to Bidzster than he's been in this race yet, apart from the start. As we go into the second to last corner, Bidzster runs a bit wide there that time, so maybe just starting to lose grip from them front tyres ever so slightly. Blakeney is being caught by, he's still got the same gap to Neil, roughly 1.8 to 2 seconds to Neil. So 5th for Blakeney, 6th for Neil Farmack. Keith is in 7th, he's got 3 seconds to Bradders now, but Bradders at the back slowly starting to get back into a rhythm, and see if he can catch Keith in the next few laps. But meanwhile TY still all over the back of Bidzster, not leaving him alone for 1 single second as we go down the straight. So let's go see if we can get a little turnaround camera. We can't turn around all the way, just thought I'd try it, guys, but never mind. Can't do a full 360 with the camera. But Bidzster then still ahead of TY, still 3/10 is the gap as gets a big twitch into that corner. TY will close up. You just see Bidzster's car just twitched on the way in, so we have to straighten up the car before he turned in, and that'll not help him as glances the wall there under braking. So still pushing hard, but the odd mistake being made, and Johnny looks like he's made a mistake as well, because he's gone down from 3 seconds to 1 to 2 seconds in the lead now, roughly. So mistake from Johnny then as Bidzster goes onto the straight. TY in the draft behind, still can't get, he's close but still can't get no cigar yet in towards the first corner. Bidzster and TY, the camera doesn't bother to track Bidzster there, but I'll refresh it and it works as, don't bother to track him there either, as Bidzster runs a bit wide into the first corner that time. TY closes right up. TY closes right up because Bidzster made a mistake there. 2/10 is the gap, and that's it. TY, half a car length between him and Bidzster. Probably not even that now. Probably not even a nose cone as they go out the corner. TY has a nice little slide there at the chicane. Still behind Bidzster, 2.3 seconds to the leader. Up over the curb, Bidzster hopping the curb a lot there. TY putting him under pressure, still can't find a way through yet. We're over half distance in this race now, so into the second half of the race. 17 out of 31. Remember, the pit lane window ends on 29, so they will have to pit for the primary tyres at some point in this race. And we'll see what happens when they come to that, but still watching the Bidzster TY battle, which is the closest one on track at the moment. Out of the last corner onto the straight. Seems like Bidzster gets a good enough line out of there to keep TY at arm's length down the straight. Meanwhile, Johnny coming down to the first corner in the Pertec car, leading the way. So looks like what is it with all these new guys joining that are looking like they're going to win races on their first appearances in LPB racing? But we'll have to see if Johnny can hold on for his. As TY and Bidzster now feeling as though he's got to defend a little bit now. So TY piling on the pressure and goes up the inside. Bidzster's not going to lift for the chicane, I can tell you that now. Side by side through the chicane, and Bidzster does not lift. And TY has to give best to Bidzster, because we all know Bidzster's defence is one of the most ruthless in LPB racing. He does not give up places easily at all. He's very fair, but fights hard. But TY knows Bidzster well enough by now. They've been racing with each other for probably more than 8 years now, so definitely know each other inside out when it comes to racing on the track. So good stuff here as we go down to the complex section. Bidzster pulling out a bit more of a gap. Let's have a look further down the field. We've got Neil Farmack still with the same gap to Blakeney, and Keith a lot further back with Bradders. And Stevie's pulling away from Blakeney slowly, so 7.8 seconds to 8 seconds now from Blakeney to Stevie, and Stevie's trying to catch up to the front runner as best he can, and because he's got clean air, he's got the best chance of doing so. But Bidzster is in the pits, so Bidzster's in the pits. He's had enough of them alternate tyres. Right, he needs to do something to try and catch Johnny up front, so he's coming to the pits. He's on the primary tyre and he's out the pits now, so Bidzster then first one to pit for the primary tyres. That could be a radical change, so we'll see who else is going to copy him here. But Johnny's gone round, and TY also, so TY might be using a few push to passes here for a demon in lap if he's going to do it. But Blakeney and Stevie then, so Stevie is that's Blakeney there, and then that's Stevie up in front. Sorry, that was Neil Farmack behind him. I got confused there for a moment. I just got confused, but there we are. Stevie coming down the back straight. Blakeney's there in fourth. Where's Bidzster come out of the pits? He's still going down the pit lane. It's that long. But Keith goes through into sixth, and Bidzster goes back down to seventh. So where's Bradders? Bradders is there. Where's Bidzster going to come out? Just in front of Bradders, I think. There he is. He comes out the pits now. He's got to get used to those tyres very quickly and then try and get on the pace. Well, you'll see the car. It'll just want to slide around everywhere on these two tyres until they've gone about 2 or 3 laps in, and then the tyres actually start to work. But for the first few laps, they are going to be torture for Bidzster until they actually get some heat into them, because they are preheated tyres anyway. But it's still, they've got to try and bed into the track surface. They've got to get the friction right, got to get the carcass and surface temperature right, and then they can actually start pushing. So we'll see who else is going to pit. So Johnny and TY have gone round. Stevie's gone round also. Blakeney and Neil, they're not pitting yet, so it looks like Bidzster's the only one that's gone for this radical change of strategy into the complex section, then catching up to Keith. Trying to catch up to Keith here into the second to last corner. Keith goes wide into the pits then. So Keith goes into the pits. There he is into the pit lane. Bidzster goes onwards, so Keith deciding now's enough. And into the pits on lap 19 goes Keith into the pit lane, and it'll take a while to get down there. As Neil Farmack then comes round the top corners through the chicane. He's not far off the back of Blakeney now, so Neil putting in some good pace here, catching up to Blakeney slowly as Johnny goes round and TY goes round again, so they're not going to pit until later on in this race either. Stevie in third. Oh, he's looking at a bunch of grass there. There we go. And Bidzster's back here. He's coming through the chicane, so just trying to get on with those tyres, just trying to see what he can do. Powers on down the road into the complex, up over the curb, sliding that car all over the place. Let's go on board with Bidzster here, just to see how much slidier this car is compared to the others. And it is, you can see how it's just got grip. The car's turning in. Let's go down to the next bit, into the complex, up over the curb on the inside. Just very brave stuff there from Bidzster using the curbs. So the tyres should be just about up to temperature now. So Bidzster onto the straight then, and we'll see what he can do from here. Meanwhile, TY's only 1 second behind Johnny now. So Johnny's losing pace, and TY as well. Johnny with 13.2 last time. TY at 12.6. Bidzster's done a 12.6 as well on the primaries, so the primaries are up to temperature now and they're working as Johnny goes wide there, so this could trigger him to pit, and it does. Johnny's in the pits. TY is going to go round, so TY is going to probably use a couple of push to passes and try and get the gap closed down throughout the pits, so try and pass him off the track. So Johnny into the pits then. Let's keep an eye on where Bidzster is. Where's Bidzster? There he is, coming out the chicane, 41 seconds behind the leader. So Bidzster powering on then as Johnny comes into the pits. Hopefully gets his pit stop right this time, because it lost him a lot of time in the last race with the Duff pit stop. But that's it, the car gets its wheels changed and off he goes. Stevie's into the pits as well, so a lot of people choosing this time in the race to pit. Neil keeps on going, so he's quite happy on the tyres he's on. As Bidzster then is just coming into the last section now. Let's see where he rejoins in respective to Johnny, who's still coming down the pit lane at that torturous speed. As Bidzster then comes onto the straight. Let's see how close he is to Johnny as we come down the straight. Johnny's still coming down the pit lane. Still there, Bidzster's there. Where's Johnny? There he is, he's coming out the pit lane now. The pit limiter's off. Bidzster goes through. There he is, there's the gap. Into the first corner, and Bidzster's just about going to get him on the inside. Johnny goes right around the outside of him. Have that. Eat that! So Johnny then with Bidzster right behind him now. Bidzster makes contact with him. Just carried a bit more speed into the corner because his tyres are up to temperature. Johnny's aren't yet. As you go on to the power, how close can you get? But Stevie's going to come out in 5th place. Where's Blake? There he is. So remember, Stevie's coming out of the pits now. So Stevie resumes that position there. There's Bidzster then pressuring Johnny for positions. Where's Bidzster? There he is. Right behind him, TY is going to be laughing at this. He's going to be pulling out a bit more of a gap. Bidzster 1:12.1 last time round on these new tyres. Really pushing hard. Johnny's going to get used to this rubber. It's TY. TY's in the pits as well. And Neil's coming in. So Neil's coming in the pits as well. And here's Johnny. Where's Bidzster? Where's Bidzster? He's spun. Bidzster spun on those tyres. Just pushed them too hard. So it must have got the tyre temperature too warm and pushed them too hard. TY's coming down the pit lane now. There's Johnny. He's about to go into the lead of the race. So TY must have had a half spin on the way into the pits as well, because Bidzster looks like he's going to pass TY as well coming out the pits. There's Bidzster. There's TY. So Bidzster then into 2nd place. So it resumes how it was, but that was close for a while there. But after the Bidzster then must have made a mistake there as well, because TY again out the pitch closes up. So Bidzster not enjoying these primary tyres. So he liked him at first, but doesn't look like he's bedding well with him now. So it might have been a mistake to go to him a bit too early. But we got the pitch then. So they must have worked they actually must have worked for the first few laps, and now they're starting to turn themselves off. As TY looks to the inside, Bidzster brakes late over the curb. Bidzster doesn't look very comfortable on those set of tyres. The car's sliding around a lot more than TY's car is. But Johnny then in front by 9 seconds now. Let's have a look at the onboard from TY's car into the complex. See Bidzster sliding into the corner. Not enjoying this rubber at all. Well, probably enjoying it from a sliding point of view, but from a grip point of view, could be better is the answer, I think. Onto the straight, TY closes up. Stevie's come through in 4th. I think we've all pitted now, I think. So Stevie in 4th, Blakeney in 5th, Neil Farmack closer to Blakeney now in 6th place, 2 seconds from 3, so closer than he was before. Bradders in ahead of Keith. As Bradders about to get lapped now by Johnny in the lead. Let's see if Bradders makes it easy for Johnny. He's not letting him through yet. Johnny backs off, so Johnny backs off for some reason there. So where Bradders goes slow on the apex on the exit of the corner and lets him go through. So good stuff there by Bradders, lets him go through. There's TY then in 2nd place. Bidzster down to 3rd. So Bidzster not enjoying these tyres, must have made another mistake, and down the position he goes to 3rd place. So Bidzster then trying to do what he can to stay with the front pack, but I don't think the tyres are up to the job. Well, I don't think the driver's up to the tyres, to be honest. But Blakeney then goes down the back straight with 2.7 seconds to Neil. So the gap still having a bit of a rubber band effect back there. So Neil closes in, then Blakeney opens it up again. So lap 24, lap 25 for the leader now. Johnny McMullen in the lead of this race. Just lap Bradders as TY goes through there and Bidzster, and they've they're about to lap Keith, I think. Keith, oh no, they've already lapped him. Keith's gone back there, so Keith gets lapped by 2nd and 3rd, and Stevie will be next to lap him. There he is. Stevie's coming towards the first corner. Keith going out of it. So Blakeney and Neil then still only a couple of seconds apart. So the closest battle on track probably between these two, but for now. But this is what can happen in a pit stop race sometimes. Sometimes it can really close things up, like it did with the front runners at first, before a few mistakes were made by a few people. But sometimes it can spread things out. But again, it's how people try and read the pit stops, and it's all about overall pace and strategy, because you've got to try and drive flat out, and you've got to think about when's the best time to pit compared to your rival, and try and see if you can trump them on pace. If you've got pace left in your tyres and you can go around a few more laps, then why not? So then you've got a few laps less on the next set of tyres. But then vice versa, sometimes if you pit too early, you can wear out the second set. So you've just got to use your head a bit more, and also it's about full-on pace. And meanwhile, we've got TY catching up to Bradders. So Bradders about to get lapped by TY in probably in the next lap or two. And Johnny a bit more further ahead now, as he's got no one else to lap for a while now. Next car to lap is Neil Farmack, and he's just coming round into the last complex. So and Johnny's only just coming down towards the second to the middle complex now. So Johnny with a fair lead there, 6 seconds over TY, but TY looks like he's gelling with these tyres rather well. So TY enjoying these primary tyres a bit more than the rest of the people around him. We all know Bidzster isn't, because Bidzster was on fire on those alternate tyres, but on the primaries just not seeming to suit his driving style. As we go out the corner, sliding his way out the corner. Blaney and Neil still 2.8 seconds apart, still the same gap as it has always been. Both of them trumping each other on pace. As we go down to the complex, Stevie's only 8 seconds behind Bidzster now, so Stevie closing on Bidzster very slowly here as well. So Bidzster going backwards from the leaders and backwards into the hands of Stevie by the look of it, but still 8 seconds to find. So with lap 26, almost about to start lap 27 off 31, so you've got to say that there's not really going to be much time for Stevie to catch Bidzster here, but we'll see if he can. Keep an eye on the progress that's made. But meanwhile, Johnny McMullen showing that he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Us further back, we've got Neil's past Blaney, so Blaney's made a mistake. He's still in that second to last complex. My guess is he hit the curb and spun round, so Blaney goes back down to 6th place there. And Neil, finally, the patience pays off, and up to 5th place goes Neil Farmack. So good for Neil. Right place, right time, picks up the pieces, and now the roles are reversed. Same gap, different order. So it is roughly a 2-second gap between Blaney and Neil, with Neil in front. Look, Neil goes a bit wide there, but again, gets on the power, gets away with it. There's contact! TY hits the back of Bradders. I don't think Bradders got out of the way very well there, and he's still getting that one on the power. So Bradders gets really in the way of TY there on the racing line. So not quite sure what happened there, but we'll definitely get a replay on that for you now. Okay, here's a replay on board with TY then. So Bradders goes wide there into this complex. So remember, we're trying to lap Bradders here. So we're right behind him now. So should be getting blue flag. So Bradders should really, out of this complex, just pull over to that side there and then slow down and let him go. But no, doesn't bother to do that. Then waits for this next corner and then watch Bradders here. Brakes earlier to let TY go on the inside, but TY just can't read it that quick because he just stops in the middle of the circuit. And then Bradders finally lets TY go. But bad observation there by Bradders. So as we come back from that end, Bradders chose a really poor place to let TY pass there, and he's paid the price because Bidzster's closing up to the back of him now, but still he's got a decent gap anyway. Let's see if Bidzster can get through a bit more cleaner on Bradders than what TY did. As we go out the next corner, Bradders is closing up to him. Probably do it on the straight, maybe, as we go out the chicane, get on the power, and then maybe take a bit of a draft down the straight, and as Bradders goes wide out the chicane there. Still a bit risky that though, because lifting off just off the apex of a chicane, you can catch the back of someone, so best off to go down the straight a bit more and then lift. So yeah, Bradders, I think the lesson learned in that one, my friend, is to let people pass on a straight, not before a corner. So if you're approaching a complex, get through the complex first, then let them go. That's probably the best thing to do. So just got to try and find a bit more of a safer spot to let people go through, but still not doing a bad job overall. But that has helped Bidzster out no end, because he's only 1.1 seconds now behind TY. So there's TY, there's Bidzster. So gap closing then between the two for second and third. Meanwhile, 10 seconds up the road, it is Johnny McMullen in the lead of the race. But remember, he has got that cloud hanging over him because of the possible jump start at the start of the race. So that could play into the factor of TY and possibly even Bidzster, depending on how bad the penalty is. Because if we say it's roughly a 40-second loss for the pit stop, then that's going to put him back down towards Neil and Blaney's area in 5th and 6th place. So we'll see how that goes. But again, we've got to respect the rules. If you do jump the start, then that's what can happen, because if you jump the start in the game anyway, you get a drive-through penalty. So it's basically, it's the stewards, not stewards, but I hate saying the stewards, but basically it's LPB Racing's version of what happens in the game. So we basically replicate the same penalty that happens in the game if you don't receive it, if you do jump the start. So Yep, so basically, just to simplify that, because that was a lot of words at once, to simplify that, if you jump the start, the game usually gives you a drive-through penalty. So basically, we do the same. If the game doesn't give it you and you are deemed to have a jump start, then we will give you the equivalent of a drive-through penalty. So 40 odd seconds will be added to the time, or 30 odd seconds, depends on how long the pit lane is and depends on how long the drive-through takes. So we will see what happens to Johnny after this race. So hopefully he'll be able to keep his win, but we'll see what happens. As Bidzster pulls up behind the back of TY now, so that incident with Brad has not helped him out at all. TY, I mean, not helped TY out at all, but it's helped Bidzster out no end, because he's right behind him now. Let's go on board with Bidzster as he tries to catch TY on this penultimate lap of the race. So through the chicane down towards the complex section. So we're on board with TY quite a while ago. So let's go on board with Bidzster now and see what it's like from his point of view. So into the corner, into the chicane, finally getting used to these tyres now. The tyres are actually waking up and working for him. So over the curbs. And powers on down towards the next corner. TY still with a decent gap though. But again, one mistake could end it all for him. As he goes slightly wide there, Bidzster takes a lot more of the curb now. Definitely getting used to the tyres, but it's a bit late in the race to be doing that. Oh, as he slides out the corner, and so does TY. Brilliant catch on the handling there from Bidzster as we follow TY down the straight. So that was an onboard from Bidzster's car. Meanwhile, Blakeney's only half a second behind Neil as well. So Neil there with Blakeney, there he is behind. Only half a second behind him now. So that's going to be a good battle to watch towards the end of the race as well. But meanwhile, Johnny McMullen is on it halfway around his last lap of the race. Looking good for his first win with LPB Racing. So we'll see what happens after the race, but on track he's doing a very dominant job here so far as TY hops the curb there with Bidzster behind him, as Neil Farmack goes out the last corner with Blakeney behind him, so they're about to start their last lap. But meanwhile, Johnny coming out of the middle sector heading towards the last complex of corners, just going to go back to TY and Bidzster's right behind TY here looking for more positions. TY trying to fend off Bidzster here, but Bidzster trying to attack, but the gap's opened up a bit more there. But Johnny McMullen takes victory here at race 2 in Indianapolis, so the rookie takes a win in his first round. Well done to Johnny McMullen, he wins the race. TY is going to come across the line in second place, but will it be a win if Johnny gets a penalty? We'll have to see, but TY, second place for him. Bidzster will be happy enough with third place for Bidzster. And Stevie is going to come across the line back in fourth place, so not bad recovery drive after the incident at the first corner with Will. Goes a bit wide onto the grass there, but he's going to finish in fourth position anyway. So fourth position for Stevie as we go up over the line. Weaves across the line, there he goes. Neil Farmack, he's coming up to the line. He's still in front of Blakeney, but there's only a second in it. But gets on the power. Neil gets on the power around the last corner. In the AJ Foyt car, Callum's old car, crosses the line for a well-deserved fifth, and Blakeney's going to come across the line in sixth place, and then Bradders and Keith got lapped, and Will unfortunately disconnected earlier on the race. So we'll just get those results confirmed for you now, guys. Okay guys, here's the results from that then. So Johnny wins the race but gets demoted to fourth place with a 45-second penalty for the jump start, which is the equivalent of a drive-through. So it's actually TY that wins the race from Bidzster, then it's Stevie in third, and then Johnny gets fourth, and then it's Neil in fifth, Blakeney in sixth, seventh for Bradders, and Keith rounds off the 8. Okay guys, now on to the points. It is Bidzster on 127 points, and it's Stevie second on 95, Neil third on 73, 70 for TY in fourth, and fifth is Callum on 64, 58 for Blakeney in sixth, Will in seventh on 50 points, 8th for Keith on 39, Gummy Bear on 26, Bradders on 25, and then it is Johnny on 24 points at the back. And then it is the AJ Foyt Enterprises Honda team on 218 points from 121 points for Team Penske Chevrolet, and 120 for Dale Coyne. So 121 and 120 between them, 1 point, which is brilliant. Andretti Autosport on 97, and then it is 25 points for Chip Ganassi Chevrolet. So as we come back from that then, As we saw there, Johnny McMullen gets his win stripped, and because of the race start, because he jumped the start, so he goes back down the order, and TY then takes victory. So TY takes victory in that one. So well done to TY. And we will see you guys next time for round 4, our special event. We are doing a half-distance Indy 500 race, so you can basically call it an Indy 250 race. And that will be on the Indianapolis Oval. There'll be a 50-minute qualifying session, then a 100-lap race, 100-lap race, which will be really fun. So we'll see you guys next week for that. Take care, guys.